Welcome to the new year. New year, new lie. You've set some goals. You said, I'm going to do X. There's no more of doing these things, of going out and partying and hanging out with friends. I'm going to focus on my work and develop myself into a prosperous and abundant human being. And then 2 weeks into the new year, you find yourself back in the same patterns, doing the same thing. And we don't want that. We really want to grow. We really want to make changes. But why? Why do we keep repeating the past? Why do we keep getting sucked back into the same old patterns? Well, I'm going to help you out with this so you can see the truth. I'm going to talk about goals and what goals really do. Goals are for exposure. That's what they really are for. They are there to expose your identity and expose who you really are. So that way you could say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to make these changes so I can line up with my goals. That equates to alignment. I'm going to talk a little bit about shadow work and identity, go into depth about that, because that really is the new year, new you. At least that's what it really means. New identity, new actions, alignment, new version of life, and voila, you literally have an upgraded life. So let's talk about identity. Identity is the sum total of your beliefs, of your thought patterns, of how you feel consistently, what your dominant thoughts are, how you process information, how you process your world. It's your nervous system, your subconscious mind, your coping mechanisms, your stories that you have about yourself, your life, your past, the meaning you've added to all of your experiences, which gives life to your identity. So we don't rise to the level of our goals, but we always fall to the level of our identity. And this is why we declare a new year, new me, but then we fall back into the old self because the old self has not been dealt with. We have not confronted that old version of ourselves. And this is the most important part to understand. Goals are here to expose our identity. When I set a goal for myself, I am looking to see where I fall short. I'm looking to see where my excuses come up, where all this reasoning, and just be reasonable. Don't push yourself too hard. Don't grind too hard. You know, there's fear coming up now around this new goal. Let's say it's getting in front of the camera, right, to film more. We all have fear. I still deal with fear and hesitation. In fact, it took me like 20 minutes just to get warmed up to start talking. Was it fear? It's more of the discomfort of getting into the flow of things. However, I identify as someone who is fantastic in front of the camera. I could talk in front of groups of people, large groups of people, it doesn't matter. I can hold a conversation with anybody. And I truly believe in what I'm talking about here. I truly live what I'm talking about. So I have no problem speaking the truth about this type of work. This is part of my identity. I do this for a living. Being in front of the camera, I've been doing this for over 12 years. So yeah, there's still a little bit of fear sometimes. However, I overcome that real quick once I start to talk and get into the flow of things. This is part of my identity. So when we set goals to, let's say, I'm gonna create more content and be in front of the camera more, or I'm gonna set a goal to be more intimate with my partner, I'm gonna set a goal to get into shape and to lose X amount of pounds and to eat healthier. Right? And then you find yourself succumbing to the fear. You find yourself giving into your excuses. You find yourself coming up with all these reasons about why you're not following through. That's your identity. It's your old identity. So it's important to understand what identity is and what identity is not. And then how to reframe your identity so you can step into these goals. This is why I love goals so much. And I know a lot of people are opposed to goals, and people say, you don't need to set goals, just go with the flow, declare what you want, but just kind of let it go. I'm also a believer in that, setting goals and letting them go. However, I'm looking at the root. The root is always feeding our fruits. Our fruits are a reflection of our roots. If you don't like the fruits, we tend to pick off the fruits, we judge them, we discard them, what's wrong with them, not looking at the root system. The root system is our identity. So again, goals are here to expose what's there, what's working, what's not working, so that way we can make adjustments. I'm going to give you a personal example of an intention I set 2 years ago, which was to get back to my healthy state. I was obese, or clinically obese. I was weighing 207 pounds. I'm 5'8", 5'9", in the morning for sure. And I couldn't fit into any of my clothes, like 99% of my clothes. I could only wear like 1 or 2 shirts that barely fit me. I was eating somewhat healthy, but I was also drinking a lot back then. And I knew I needed to change my lifestyle. I needed to adopt new ways of living, which were really the old ways I was living before, which were healthier. I had to give up certain things, and I had to step into a new version of myself that was going to carry out this lifestyle so I can have my goals. One of my first goals in terms of losing weight and getting in shape and becoming healthy was getting down to 175, just to see how I liked it at 175. I picked up jiu-jitsu again. I had a dedicated training schedule. I started to really hone in on my diet, what works, what doesn't work. One of the things that did work for me, it still continues to work for me. I always notice fast improvements when I stopped eating after 5 p.m. Letting go of the alcohol. I had to say no to certain friends. I had to say yes to certain friends in a certain lifestyle. It was a little bit difficult in the beginning. However, I was so committed to this new version of me, and I kept tapping into what is this new Rob like? How does he talk? How does he speak? How does he dress? How does he conduct himself? What does his surroundings and his environment look like? How is his performance in his coaching business look like? How does his relationships look now? His romantic relationships and friendships, his relationship with his daughter, how does it look? And I kept living from the end. I kept picturing what that version of me looked like as if I already had it. And this required me to make conscious decisions, conscious choices in every moment of my life. Does this align with what I want, or does this align with who I used to be? I always had to ask myself that question. No, this is really aligning myself to who I used to be. Going with some friends to happy hour, even if I wasn't drinking, that's old Rob. I'm setting myself up for failure. Oh, skipping workouts or pushing the workouts to the end. As a matter of fact, I started in January training jiu-jitsu of 2024. In March, late February, early March, I didn't train for almost a whole month because I kept pushing it back, the practice for jiu-jitsu. And so I'm like, yo, I skipped a whole month already. This is old version of Rob. I kept pushing it away, postponing it. Oh, I'll go tonight. Oh, I'll go tomorrow. Oh, I'll go Wednesday. Oh, I'll go Friday. Oh, I'll go on the weekends. And then I wasn't going. This was how I used to operate back in the day. And this is how I got myself in the predicament of being overweight and unhealthy, clinically obese. So I said, you know what? Screw this. I have to clean up my schedule and get committed and go at least 3 times a week. And I'm going to go at this time, no matter what. So I had to use motivation. I had to use force. I had to use willpower. I had to use discipline. This is where I'm going to talk about discipline. A lot of times people think that discipline is all they need. I need to be more disciplined. I want to be more disciplined like you, Rob. You are so consistent with everything that you're doing. Let me tell you, my friend, that is not discipline you're seeing. That is habits. And my habits are coming from my identity. Yes, discipline is required in the very beginning. It's just an engine starter. That's all it is. And you only need teaspoons of discipline just to get started. What's really important is to use that starting process to begin the process of these different actions. See, because our actions come from our discipline. When we're consistent with our actions become part of our habits. They become habitual. Then our habits now reflect our identity. It feeds our identity. This is who I am. I am someone who wakes up early. I am someone who wakes up when my alarm clock goes off. I'm not hitting snooze. I wake up the second it goes off, I pop up. I am someone who's consistent with my diet. I choose temporary discomfort for long-term relief or long-term pleasure, long-term results. I am someone who follows through on my word. I am someone who recognizes fear and does it anyway. I am someone who is my word to myself and to the people around me. I am that guy. I am this person. And so I kept having to rehearse this identity. Like I said before, I kept having to declare, this is who I am. And no matter what, step into this person consistently to where this became all habitual. So when you see me doing all of these habits or you see me being disciplined, what you're really seeing are my habits playing out from my identity. And this is what I would love for you to dive into, my friend, on this subject here is, who are you being consistently? Is it lining up with the goals that expose? Are you lining up with the goals that you say that you want? If not, you need to go back inside of yourself and ask yourself, what's holding me back? What do I fear? What stories am I holding on to that's keeping me stuck in these loops? Now, this is something else that I love talking about, and I teach this to all of my clients. It's about shadow or shadow work. The shadow isn't bad. Your shadow are parts of ourselves that we've dismissed, we've pushed down, we've repressed. They're parts of us that we haven't owned yet. We've denied these parts of ourselves. Whatever it is that you want, there's always going to be another version of you that's catching up to say, oh, whoa, hold up. This is not who you are. This is who you are. This is who you are, the shadow version. And that's where the fork in the road appears, and you get to make a conscious decision. Decision means it comes from the root word of incision, to cut away, right? You make an incision and you cut away everything that doesn't work and you isolate what does work. So when we're dealing with our shadow, it's important to own those parts of ourselves that we've denied, repressed, pushed away, etc. Know that there's a war going on inside of ourselves. This is going to happen. And when this does happen, we have an opportunity to self-sabotage or to overcome those past decisions and past versions of ourselves, to step into the empowered version of ourselves. But just know that this always happens. We're always at war with this shadow part of ourselves, which again is not bad. We just need to own it and choose differently. There's another part here where I express the sustainability and the strength to maintain what it is that you want. If you are not able to maintain what you want, you are going to burn out. And all burnout is, and all it means, is that your goals have outgrown your identity. Your identity's here, your goals are here. We need to align and build and expand our identities to get to our goals. However, if we don't, what happens is we're looking at our goals, we're driving, we're pushing, we're grinding, we're carrying out different actions. Why aren't these working? Why isn't any of this stuff working? And then we literally just burn out from exhaustion. We burn out from the doubt. We burn out from the repeated patterns. Like, why doesn't this stuff work? And then we fall back into our old self. So you always want to have at the forefront of your mind, how can I make this sustainable? How can I be consistent and make this sustainable to last a lifetime, not just a short time where it's around, let's say, for example, diets. Diets are something that's temporary. I'm just going on a diet to prepare for vacation. I'm going on a diet to look good in the suit or look good in these clothes. I'm going on a diet because I have these dates coming up or whatever. That's not going to create change that lasts. What lasts is the sustainability of your expanded identity. It's changing your lifestyle. You change your lifestyle to align with your goals, and voila, you have a new life. So it's important to rehearse identity. It's important to rehearse who this version of you is so you can fulfill your dreams, your desires, and your goals. So keep this in mind. Everything in your life is a mirror. Everything that you're going for, everything that's happening in your reality is always reflecting you back to you. If your identity does not change, if it does not shift, your life won't either. You will always be stuck in the same trap. So in closing, keep in mind your goals are here to expose who you really are, where you're falling short, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your self-talk looks like, your nervous system regulation, your subconscious mind. And you take what's happening as feedback. Even if you fail, you take that failure as lessons, as feedback to reapply yourself, to align yourself with those goals. So keep in mind, if things aren't working out, something's off with your identity. If you pay attention to your identity and make these adjustments by declaring this is who I am, by consciously choosing this is how I'm acting, and then more than ever, the importance of following through on this version of yourself to match this life that you want. If this was helpful, please subscribe, give this a like, share this with your friends. There is no ceiling.